Okay, this video is going to take us through the notes on named constants and then a little demo at the end. And so here's what happens. Let's say we're dealing with we want to calculate someone's monthly salary, and so let's say that their annual salary here, double annual salary, which is set up here, is, let's say it's $75,000, and so this code stores 75,000 inside of a variable named annual salary. And then the next line is the new stuff. Okay, so this, you'll notice, starts with the word final. So that's going to be important. This is called a named constant. So make sure you make a note of that on here. This is a named constant right here. You can tell this is a named constant because you have all caps for the entire, all the letters, and also what separates each word is going to be the underscores. Okay, that's how you distinguish between a named constant and a variable or a class name. Again, the compiler does not care whether it's all caps or not, but this is for you as the programmer to distinguish between your named constants and your regular variables. Now, this word final means something to the compiler. In fact, it'll turn color, a different color, and what that tells the compiler is that this 12 is the final amount, final value. It cannot be changed to anything else, and we'll show that as well. So it's got to have a named constant, has to have a final, and has to have a final for sure, and then the conventionally programmers do all caps with underscores in between each word. Now, so the 12 is stored in here. All right, and then we have the double monthly salary, which is here, and it's assigned a calculation, and so this calculation is done. So variable call 75,000 and divided by 12, and what that comes up to be is 6250.0. Alright, and so that's what that is. And then in this print statement, it says monthly salary, and then it says the variable call, and so it's going to print 6250.0. Now, just a side note here is if we wanted to, we could in here then put the df.format like we have up here and format it as money, and put that put the parentheses around the variable call, and then what it would do, it would print instead of 6250.0, it would print the dollar sign 6250.00, even though that's not what's in the memory location. This will format it to look like this. Alright, so that's just a kind of a review of what we covered with the decimal format. Now, what happens then is, okay, let's stop doing this. I don't know what the deal is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go on in the program, and so let's say that we want to update the annual salary, and I shouldn't have, I wonder if I can undo that. Nope, I can't. Okay, so it said 75,000 in here, and so this was 12, and this was 6250.0. Alright, so in this line here is, now there's already something in this memory location, but this is what we call updating. So you have the initial, this is the initial value, or initialized. Now we're going to update the annual salary memory location. And so what you do, the way you illustrate that is you cross out the 75,000 and put down 100,000. So that's an update. So now if you were to print or call, for instance, right here. Here it was called. It was 75,000 at the time, so it took 75,000 and divided it by 12. Okay, so here it's going to instead, because it's been updated, it's going to take 100,000 and divide it by 12. Alright, now what we'll see in just a little bit here is, now this months in years is assigned 6. This cannot be updated. So months in year cannot be updated because this says final. And so this would bring an error message. And I can't remember what the error message says, but we'll see that in just a little bit. So anyway, so that would present an error message. So you really would need to delete this and leave it alone. It's going to divide it by 12 instead. And then this will be updated as well. And that will be 800 or 8,333.33, and it just keeps, the threes just keep on going. Alright, so that's the idea there. And then of course when you print this monthly salary, if you apply the decimal format, it could make it look like a currency. Alright, so that's how that looks. And then if we should look at the JGraphs really quick here. And so if we were to compile this and then run it, okay, you see it has that 62.50, and so you can see how that actually worked. And what I had students do in the class was to practice writing this line of code. Now you're just watching the video, so that's fine if you just watch it here, but you want to make sure that you refer to those notes whenever you are asked to write or to declare a named constant. And you want to learn how to do it without having to look at your notes, but at first you're going to have to look at your notes. And another thing is this that I showed the students, is this is really a good time to copy and paste. So when you're writing this code down here on line 8, instead of typing months and year, you really should just copy and paste it. That will eliminate spelling errors and capitalization errors. And then to show you, let's take away this comment here, comment symbols. Now I want to show you how this line right here is going to cause a problem because of this word final. So I'm going to do that, compile there, and you see how we do get an error. Can't assign a value to a final variable. And so that demonstrates that idea. If you did take away the word final, then you would then have no errors. And so that is the idea. So let's just take this out of the picture and show you how the variable actually does change values, and the right values are printed. So you can see here, the first time through it printed 62.50 because the annual salary at the time was 75,000. It got updated to 100,000, so it makes sense then that the monthly salary is going to be higher, and so that's why it ended up being 8,333. All right, so that's how the named constant works, and it's used for memory locations that you want to store something that should not change. So months in a year, it doesn't make sense to say months in a year is 11 or 6 or 7. It only makes sense to make it 12. Pi would be another good named constant, because once you set it to be 3.14 or maybe a few more decimals, whatever, you don't want that to change. There's certain things in a program that you may not want to allow it to be updated, and so you declare it as a named constant. Alright, so that's it.